this is Breath of the Wild Part 20, and in this part we're finally going to make it past these stupid flowers to the middle of the Floret Sandbar to enter the shrine that I can't pronounce. The trial we're going to face inside the shrine is called Drifting, and once we complete the shrine, we're going to do a little bit of exploring around this area, kind of trying to make our way back onto the path towards Kakariko Village.
I don't know if you remember, but a couple parts ago, I actually saw a shrine that I thought I'd be able to pronounce. And so I started the video off that way with trying to pronounce it and literally mess up the first word. And I was like, you know what? I should have stuck with not trying to pronounce them because there's so many difficult ones. You're not going to exactly know how to say it unless you hear it said.
Exactly.
And so I'm kind of with you. Hey, let's just forget about it, whatever. But it's, well, I was going to say it's finally nice to make it around this Floret Sandbar, but we're actually not quite there yet.
Well, it's funny. At the end of last part, you saw that that Magda attacked us and left us with half a heart left. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure. I think no matter how much health you have, whenever she attacks you, it leaves you with half a heart. I'm not positive on that, but it seems like that's the way it would be. But I'm a little disappointed when she was getting so angry like she was. I was really hoping she was actually going to turn into some kind of monster to attack us.
Now, that would be really cool. We kind of said at the end of the last video, if they would have showed her kicking your butt, that would have also been cool. And then, like, as a third cool, I think it would have been cool if they would have showed her actually killing you instead of leaving with half a heart. But, you know, it is what it is. But if you died from stepping on flowers, that would just be another way you could die in Breath of the Wild.
It would have been one of the most embarrassing ways, of course. You stepped on a flower and got murdered by an angry woman. You know, just it would have been
and that's a real life situation. Like, we talk about Zelda physics. That's a physics that applies to real life.
That really does. We've learned that lesson in our lifetime. But the fact that was actually, like, they called that a shrine quest. Actually, I think it was called "Stay Off the Flowers" or whatever, or "Watch Out for the Flowers." Despite how I made it look, it's probably the simplest or one of the simplest shrine quests in the game, because literally all you have to do is follow the path. Clearly, I was not very good at that.
Yeah.
But throughout the game, I think you said there were something like 42 shrine quests.
There's 42 shrine quests,
And later on in the game, of course, you'll get into some much more difficult ones.
Definitely.
Some you have to solve some riddles or be in the right place at the right time type of situation. So just making it across some flowers really is, or should have been, one of the simplest ones, but I just made it way too complicated.
But hey, it was entertaining while it was going on. But like as we said, 42 shrine quests. I actually had the issue of a couple I actually completed and I didn't activate them, and so then when I actually activated them, it just said complete all of a sudden. So for me, those were my easiest shrine quests right there. But right here, this very first part, like, this is kind of going along with Breath of the Wild and how you can do so many things differently. Like, I just use the rafts to kind of jump across. You see, you're kind of using that Cryonis ability. Like, there's just so many ways, and this shrine's a good example of how you can go about these puzzles.
And I really like that. Some of the shrines are very straightforward. There really is only like one way to do it.
You okay there, Red?
But yeah, it was. I had to stop and think about what I was going to say. I'm kind of ticked off at myself because as I go back and watch this video, I realized there was a treasure chest at the bottom of the previous room that I'm pretty sure I could have just used magnesis to pull up to the surface, and I didn't for whatever reason. I feel like I even started to turn the camera angle to go back after it, and then just didn't do it. And I have no idea why. I have no idea what's in that treasure chest. Probably just like an amber or an opal, something that you get early on in the game. But there was a treasure chest in the previous room. You could just use magnesis to get it to you, and I just totally forgot about it.
I honestly don't remember getting that one either. I think I was concentrating so much on the rafts and like the floating water that I just literally did not see a treasure chest down there. Or I just, as we kind of talked about, a lot of them in the shrines and overall in the game, like, yeah, they have some value to them, but they're just not that valuable. So I probably just ran right past it. But like right here, one thing I don't understand is how these bombs float, like, or even how they work in water. I know it's not like a fiery explosion, but it still needs some kind of spark to work. So one, how are they floating? And two, how are they actually working in water?
Well, and we've talked about, all throughout the game so far how kind of we're disappointed with the bombs in general. So, I guess the fact that they're like more of a magic explosion explains how they work in the water. But I'm with you. It's like you expect there to be fire and everything in the water. It would just basically be a dud. But I love this room because there are literally 3 or 4 different ways you can get through here. Like you can try shooting, like there were explosive barrels floating in the water that you could shoot with a fire arrow. You could use a combination of like cryonis and bomb arrows, or just the regular bombs floating in the current, which I think is what, the whole name drifting came from, was both the rafts and the bombs drifting in the water. So like we mentioned, just the variety of ways to get through each of those first couple rooms in the shrine, really, it just shows the versatility that there is in this game.
No, I love seeing water in any shrine. We've already seen it a couple of times. I kind of pointed out that I love seeing the water. Okay, it's beautiful in the whole game. I think a lot of that is the animation style or the art style that they used.
Yep.
But in shrines, like, okay, it looks beautiful already, but I love these shrines, and we'll see more and more throughout the game where we actually have the puzzle that is revolved around some kind of water mechanic, and those to me end up being my favorite shrines because, one, it's beautiful, and then when you introduce that water into it, I just think it makes this shrine a lot of fun.
Well, some of those water puzzles are very difficult. There's been a few, I'm not ashamed to admit, there have been a few that I've had to kind of stop, turn to Google, turn to YouTube to figure out how to get through a couple of them. Some of the water ones, especially when they started introducing like seesaws and things like that, where you have to use the cryonis to really find your way through and get the water to go where you want it to. They do get complicated, but we've said before, we love the challenge that comes with a lot of these shrines. But I mean, every now and then, hey, I'm not ashamed to admit that the challenge is a little too much for me, and I'm an impatient guy, especially when I'm doing a recording. I can only look dumb for so long before I got to cheat.
Yeah, I definitely understand that point you just made right there. I had that problem with Wind Waker because I was doing a blind Let's Play for Wind Waker because I never played the game before, and there was a couple moments where I was like, you know what, I cannot sit here and record for 30 minutes and get nothing accomplished, so I got to look online. Now, there is one thing that I am proud that I do want to say. I actually just beat the 120 shrine the other day, and I did not have to cheat on any shrine within the shrine.
Once you actually got in there.
Get to the shrine, I got to a certain point. I actually did 108 of them on my own without any cheats. So I beat 90% of them on my own, but like the last couple I looked at like how exactly to get there. I actually completed all the puzzles in the shrine without looking at one cheat, and I was pretty happy with that one.
I'm pretty sure I made it through like 5 shrines before I finally cheated. I mean, puzzle solving is not always my strong suit. I know it's such a central part of every single Zelda game, whether it's the dungeons or the shrines they introduced in Breath of the Wild. But just the puzzle solving has not always been my strong suit. I'm a little bit like you, just the time. Sometimes I don't always have the time that it takes to really sit there and try to figure it out. We're adults. We got stuff to do with our lives sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Yeah. And it's just, you don't want to spend 30, 45 minutes getting nothing done in a game. Especially, like I said, when we're recording. We got to commentate these parts, and there's only so much we can talk about if I spend 45 minutes sitting in a shrine not getting anything
that's kind of what I was
done.
going to say. Like, I can totally understand because I record and people don't understand. Like, they might understand a little bit, but behind the scenes, these recordings, they take up a lot of space. Like, I'm talking about like a 30-minute recording. I don't know, it takes up probably 3, depending on what software you use and what recording device you use. It can take anywhere from 3 to 4 gigabytes for 30 minutes long of video. So you do get to that point when you're recording where, okay, I kind of got to beat this because, 1, I don't want to look like an idiot, and 2, it really does become a space issue. You don't want to sit in a shrine for 30 minutes and not accomplish anything.
And this game's going to need a hard drive all to itself.
Yeah,
so.
Yes, and that's something we behind the scenes are talking about is we're going to literally, like you said, get a hard drive for this entire game. But Red, I know you're kind of talking about this area right here, I believe, and what kind of beast.
Yes.
Like, that thing is just huge right there.
I'd love to know what it is. Like, just seeing like this random blight area, like the Ganon blight or whatever they call it, on what looks like a skeleton of a monster. I just think it looks awesome, and it makes you wonder what kind of monster or beast that was, because we fight some pretty good-sized enemies in this game. We haven't really encountered too many of them yet, but there are some giant enemies we fight, but there's nothing on the size of like those ribcage. That ribcage there looked like. So it's kind of depressing that we don't get to see what it was, but it gives you a hint that, man, there used to be something else roaming Hyrule that was just bigger than anything else we see in the entire game.
It's kind of like dinosaurs in a way, like we find dinosaur fossils, and there used to be these huge creatures before this time, and we already know that this game at least goes back 10,000 years, so it kind of makes you wonder what it was like 10,000 years ago, and then you add in the Sheikah technology, which kind of going back to that last shrine and why bombs can float. maybe the Sheikah technology had something to do with why they could actually float and also blow up in water. But
Hey, they have
anyway,
good technology.
that'll go ahead and wrap up part 20 of our Let's Play series for Breath of the Wild.